Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge, 6:12 a.m., November 10th, 2018. It's daylight now. And it's 47 degrees and very damp and windy. It's going to be cold weather out there, walking in a little while. Those football games today in Louisiana outside are going to be cold. Louisiana State's going to have a cold night in Arkansas. Tulane and East Carolina in New Orleans at 3 o'clock is going to be cold. Arkansas Pine Bluff at Southern University in Baton Rouge at 4 o'clock is going to be cold. Or is it 4:30? Doesn't matter. All right. This morning we have from 1984 Canadian Hunter blended Canadian whiskey, no age statement. Now I saw that Food Quig did a, and I thought I had saved it on my watch later and it didn't show up, so I got to go recheck that. He did Black Velvet American bottled versus Black Velvet Canadian bottled, and I'll be curious to see if he could detect any differences, and curious to see if he did a blind taste test. All right, so here's Canadian Hunter, introduced in 1984 by Seagram's. There's their famous bullet, end of the bullet, or bottom of the bullet. The cap, I guess that's called. All right, and the logo they've had for 34 years. The man with the Huskies. All right, Canadian whiskey with natural flavors added, 80 proof. You say, what's it going to go up against? I'll show you in just a moment. CH, Canadian Hunter. This was a Seagram's brand, but it was bought by, picked up by Sazerac Company after the implosion of Seagram's in 2000, the last year of the 20th century. Seagram's imploded and went out of business. They did not survive the 20th century. But their brands still exist. Their assets still exist, like, you know, their old distilleries and all of that. And many of their employees started working for Barton Brands, who is now part of Sazerac, Pernod Ricard, Diageo, etc. All right, so we're going against Black Velvet Reserve, aged 8 years. This was introduced in 1991. It is now a Constellation Brands item. Black Velvet was started by a company called, I can't remember. It's one of those old companies, and like so many, Hublin, I think it was Hublin or Hubline, however you pronounce that. They got bought out. Hiram Walker got bought out. Barton got bought out. Fleischmann's got bought out. This should not this should not seem to be an unusual thing to you. It is a normal and typical occasion in the whiskey, I should say alcoholic beverage, you know, distilled spirits world of buyouts. And in wine, and in beer. Now, in the beer world, though, I noticed that people get really hyperactive about it, very disturbed. You hear it all the time. I can't believe they sold out. They betrayed us. How could they do this to me? I'm trying to even out. How could they sell out? I'll never buy their beer again, even though I love it. I'll never buy it again. Or then they'll comment, oh, it tastes, ever since the buyout, it tastes different. You ever notice it tastes different now? And people ask me that, don't you find Goose Island tastes different since the buyout? And I say, well, I never had it before the buyout because it was never available here. Tastes fine to me. There have been differences now, like when Red Stripe, Diageo was getting a contract. This contract brewed in Pennsylvania didn't taste right. So people must have complained, and they went back to Jamaican brewed. And I don't think it's owned by Diageo. Didn't they sell it off? So, but that's an old practice in the beer world, people, that they get bought out. I don't understand. I think a lot of beer fans, they understand beer and brewing and tasting and ingredients, and they like to get on the air or online and talk about hops, how they different ones taste, and they can let everybody know that they can really tell them apart and all of this. But they don't understand business maybe too well, you know, enterprise, because that's the nature of it. Then you have a lot of people that have this like socialistic viewpoint. And so it's like a culture comp for them, like a social struggle. Oh, well, I'm not shackled by that. I'm not bragging like, oh, look at me. I'm just saying anyway, I promote free enterprise. I'm a free enterprise promoter. So there's that. And I never did care who made it back 22 years ago when I started drinking beer in February 1996. I just said, well, these products exist. Let's try them. And I've said this repeatedly for years. I'm just interested in the brands, the history of the brand, how it developed, if the recipe changed, if the alcohol level changed. So that's my approach. Now, other people have different approaches, and I watch their videos, and it's interesting. Okay, though, Fernan Gauthier says 28 minutes before the start, I wait here. Okay, thank you. I was thinking about starting early, but I wanted to catch the news at the top of the hour. And plus, I was doing some other research, so I said, no, I better just wait. And then around 6:12 is when I was able to start. Fernan Gauthier says a bunch of different icons, finishing with thumbs up. Jornex says, Ronald, have turned over to the dark side again to enjoy some whiskey. Cheers. It's not the dark side. It's the amber side. Canadian for the win, says Fernan. Canadian Hunter. Okay, let's look at the appearance. And look, the cold came in strong in Louisiana and quick. It was 83 degrees 4 days ago. I was walking around with my shorts on and no shirt. And here we are in the cold. And then you wonder why people get sick. I take that vitamin C every day. I've noticed I've not gotten ill as much. This one is a slight bit more gold than this one. This was more yellow. This was more gold, or more amber, or darker than lighter. But the difference is not much. So Canadian Hunter is aged, I thought it said 36 months, but I get confused with these things. It's showing Antlers here. Antlers, Sazerac Company. Nah, there's no age statement. It just says Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. Oh, and I was wrong. I was talking about how I paid $15.49 for that bottle at International Market. I don't know where that came from. I was confused. It was only $8.99. Okay, so that was. I remember now what the confusion is. I was trying to decide, should I pay $8.99 for the glass bottle, or should I get the big jug bottle, which some stores had on sale for $10.99 or $11.99 for the. I'm talking about the big 1.75. But I decided no, I want the glass, so I paid $8.99. So that's a really low price for imported whiskey. Okay, so. I'm sorry I had given out bad information. Yeah, I paid $8.99 plus tax. And the Black Velvet was $10.99, so it's a $2 difference. Once again, if one of them wins, they win. Fine. If it's a tie, remember, the lower price always wins by default. Well, that would make sense. If one whiskey's no better than the other, why would you pay a penny more? I know I wouldn't. Okay, so a 1984 offering versus a 1991 offering. Have they changed the recipe since then? I have no knowledge to that effect. They may have, they may not have. I really couldn't tell you. I get a lot of commentary from people time to time. Oh, if you're trying to send me a private message and I don't answer it, it's because I don't ever see these messages. It'll say 9 messages, and I'll get, there's nothing there. It doesn't show anything. So I don't know how to. They used to have it called messaging, and people would send messages and read. Then they reformat it, and then it doesn't show anything. So I had somebody tell me, "You're trying to Ignore me. I'm not trying to ignore you. I cannot respond to a message I can't see, okay? I'm sorry. They keep reformatting about every 6 months here on this social media platform. And it seems like every time they do it, it gets more complicated and less user-friendly, okay? I'm sorry. No disrespect, because I can't see it. Secondly, people will comment from time to time and say, you know, they changed such and such beer brand's recipe or wine or alcohol. Like Budweiser, you know, they changed it. I said, they did? Yeah. I said, can you show me some evidence to that effect? Can you, in other words, can you provide a source for your contention? No, they never can, or they don't. So if you make a claim, that's fine, but there could be some evidence to back up your claim. That would help, okay? That would really help. All right. If not, why are you making the claim? I'm getting some caramel, maybe some rum cake. That's the flavoring. Buttery? No, I don't know. I know there's a description on Sazerac's website for Canadian Hunter. There's a little write-up about it. And it gives tasting notes, but I don't know. I don't remember what they say. This is like a cake, like a dessert cake. That makes me think that's the Canadian Hunter. Smells nice, but some people would be just very offended, say whiskey should not taste like dessert. Especially the bourbon purists would say that. I'm not saying they shouldn't say it. I'm just saying they would probably say that. This is more neutral. Maybe I'm picking up a little wood. By virtue of its neutrality, I'm thinking it must be the Canadian, what is it called, Black Velvet Reserve, because it doesn't have that flavorings thing. But I've been wrong before on these. They can really trick you up. Because it does have some underlying cocktail sherry type thing. So, All right, time to taste. The first thing we notice is there's a strong wood component, not so much charred oak, because they're aging it in used barrels, usually used bourbon barrels. But there is the oak. Those flavorings things have taken a back seat. They're there, but they're not overt. They're covert. You know what I'm saying? They're underneath. So I like how Sazerac kind of does that. When you see with flavorings added, you think, oh, I'm not buying it. It's going to taste like some kind of concoction, some candy thing. But if you let it breathe for a minute, switch it around, it really doesn't have that. It just tastes like Canadian whiskey. You know, they tend to be very, people use the word bland or dull. I can't necessarily disagree with that. But I think a more appropriate term for the Canadian whiskey blends would be they're mellow. And the mellow aspect is what makes them so popular with many segments of the whiskey drinking community. So if you're a Elijah Craig barrel proof, you know what I'm saying, bourbon, Kentucky straight bourbon drinker, yeah, you're going to say this is dull, it's bland. I understand that. Now, if you're a Canadian blended whiskey drinker and then you go to Elijah Craig barrel proof, you're going to probably say, oh, that's nasty. You know, you get that with beer too. The people thinking the IPAs are so bitter. Hey, what's up, says Marius Lister. Oh, just doing a taste challenge here in the morning. Fernand Gauthier says, opinion on Caribou. It's red wine mixed with whiskey. I've never had Caribou, but I've heard of it. So I cannot give an opinion, except to say that I guess that's fine if people enjoy it. Okay, now let's taste this one. Okay. There's a lot of actually charred oak here and a lot of rye spice. And there is the flavor. There is flavorings. I would say a little rum, a good amount of brandy, probably the blending sherry, which to me I think is like cocktail sherry. If you want to see what that tastes like, go buy the Fairbanks cocktail sherry. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting product. Oh, and by the way, when I made my corned beef hash today with the 2 scrambled eggs poured on top and the sliced onions and the black pepper and Louisiana Gold hot sauce and 2 slices of Colby Jack cheese, and then I flipped it and let it all melt and marry together. I poured some Taylor Marsala on that and let that, heat up and cook down. I'm not too sure the Marsala really helps that kind of breakfast. I was thinking to myself, no, didn't hurt it. But I said, I'm just going to drink the Marsala. I think I'd rather drink it than cook with it. Now, if I was making a smothered chicken dish, okay, I could see that working better. I'm going to be honest, and I'm always honest, except when I'm lying. But I'm always honest in these reviews, and I'm not quite sure which is which at this point. And you might say if it's 8 years, it should be very clearly discernible. You would think so, that it's in the barrel 8 years, it should be clearly discernible, but you might not be correct. May not be correct. Okay. Yeah, they have a whiskey and a booze alcohol flavor. They're 80 proof. They're going to have that. There's no way you're going to mask that. Unless you pour it in some kind of, make like a, what is that with that milk mixture, Kahlua type, whatever that is stuff. But it's not real strong. It's they're kind of like a standard, I don't know, whiskey flavor. People are very brand conscious. So if I brought Black Velvet Reserve 8-year or the Canadian Hunter to the Knights of Columbus Hall, I just know somebody would make a comment about it, and it would probably be negative. And they wouldn't be open-minded. You know what they say? We drink Seagram's VO over here. We drank Crown Royal over here. But my attitude would be, well, why can't you try something different? Why does it have? Even people made some comments about when Jared brought the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. They were kind of wary about it. I mean, it's all gone now, but I think he drank most of it. But they just say, oh, we got Jim Beam. I don't know. It just seems people are very conventional. But I'm not disparaging that. They enjoy drinking what they drink, okay? Those guys are mostly older than me. Most, not all, but they're like in their 60s, 70s. Some of them are younger than me in their 30s. Okay, but they say, we got Cuddy Shark. Cuddy Shark, you heard that? We got Cuddy Sark. We got Johnny Walker. We got Jim Beam. We got Crown Royal. We've got, and then there's not a lot of, I tried to introduce them to some Irish beer that did not go over too well. They drink Budweiser, Coors, Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Lite, and Michelob Ultra, and that is it. And so I'm not going to keep kicking against the thorn bush, you see. Okay, what's Marsala? Marsala? No, it's a wine. It's a strong dessert wine. Do you have alcohol with breakfast? No, I do not. I drink coffee with breakfast. Well, sometimes I have alcohol with breakfast if I'm doing a stunt video, like doing an early morning video and eating breakfast and doing it for like a stunt or gimmick. Yeah, but typically no. Belly's Wit cereal says for me, you can add some whiskey in your maple spread. No, I think I would just rather drink coffee with breakfast. I had 3 cups of coffee this morning. I was quite satisfied with that. This is, I'm doing a taste challenge here, mainly for convenience sake. People ask me that, why do you do that so early? You're drunk. No, it's just I can get it over with. It's done, you know, and then I can go out, go walk and do my other things. I'm not. It's mainly just I woke up at 3:02 this morning, 3:02 a.m. So I've been up over 3 hours. So this is not anything that incredible. Oh wow, drink. I did a taste challenge with 2 little tiny amounts of whiskey. What, 2 ounces each glass? Oh boy, what a big deal. I mean, I can't believe it. I can't get over it. It's so incredible. Really dedicated drinkers are probably rolling their eyes saying, oh yeah, that's not impressive, man. I didn't say it was impressive. Some people think it's impressive. I don't think it's impressive. It's a very small time thing. Okay. Now, I was saying that was a Canadian Hunter, but now I'm starting to think this is the Black Velvet. 3:02. At what hour do you go to bed? I was laying in bed at 7 something watching the Syracuse football game. I was getting kind of sleepy, but I wasn't really too sleepy. It was dark. I mean, it's dark, so it's nighttime, right? But then when Syracuse intercepted the ball and ran it all the way back and scored a touchdown, and then the game was obviously going to be a runaway against Louisville, I said, psh, I'm going to sleep. This thing here. And then 5 hours later, I woke up. So I slept 5 straight hours, no interruptions. And then I went to use the restroom, the bathroom. And then I couldn't get back to sleep for like an hour. I just laid there. I said, well, you know what? I'll just lay here. And then around 2 something, I'll get up. But I finally fell asleep. And then I had dreams about things that didn't make sense. And I woke up and said, that I don't even talk to that person anymore, or they won't talk to me or whatever. And I said, well, but that's okay because I was sleeping at least. So then I got enough sleep, so I woke up. They're just pulling your leg, Ronald. I know that. They probably drink way more than me. All right. Well, last test, and then I'm going to call a winner, if I can call a winner. I like that kind of residual underlying spice character there, though. Yeah. I think these 2 companies really do a great job with these inexpensive whiskeys. If anybody says it's rot gut, they're wrong. I have some stuff in the cabinet that would sort of qualify for that. Those cheap American blended whiskeys, they kind of like hover around badness. These would not, you could not say these are bad. I think the one on my right, maybe your left, my right is a little better. It's a little sweeter, sugary, more sugary, a little more candy flavored type item. But I would say they're probably one as good as the other, really. So does the 8 years in the barrel make a difference here? I don't see where it does. But I'll say this one's a little better, and I think it's the Canadian Hunter. Can you imagine that? The Canadian Hunter is beating the Black Velvet Reserve. But I don't know which is which yet, so I'm going to do the reveal right now. So you get a lot of things done if you wake up at 3, says Marius Lister. Yes, that's right. I was able to check all the sports scores. And I go in order by the season. So I did college football first, then well, there's no NFL games last night. Then pro basketball, NBA starts first, and then I did women's basketball, checked all score. Then men's, read the articles, posted my 2 songs on Rock and Roll Club from Jimmy Buffett's Changes in Latitudes, Changes in Attitudes album, 1977, with the lyrics, you know, a selection of the lyrics. And posted a photo of a beer in Alcohol Eggs, the Harpoon Duncan Porter, beautiful beer. Posted a comic book that I own, Man of Steel #6, 1986, when they rebooted Superman. You know, Superman books were canceled and they were rebooted a few months later by DC Comics, Warner Communications, because they felt that things need to be revamped. I thought they made a lot of missteps with that, but it was a good idea, I guess. I guess it was a good idea. Like, this is the real history of Superman, the real history of this pretend thing. The other pretend stuff isn't real. This is the real history of the pretend stuff. Okay. And then I posted a picture of a car, 1975 Ford LTD on Facebook. So, all right. So here, I think this is the Canadian Hunter. Here we go. I'm not sure. Oh, it is. I got it right. All right. And I was a little mixed up at first. I had to let him breathe. Okay, well. Hey, 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 hey. Sounds very jealous. Oh, I don't think he's jealous. He's just talking about it. Well, sorry, Constellation Brands, but Black Velvet loses again. And not by default this time. It lost because the Canadian Hunter tasted better. So you were right. Canadian for the win, and it won. Oh, baby. Hey, you know what? Sazerac's doing something right because they are out there battling and winning and battling and winning. Yeah, I know. It's the same bottle as Ancient Age. Go buy some Ancient Age Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Same exact bottle. Go buy some Jethro T Boots at CVS Pharmacy. This is the standard. This is one of the standard Buffalo Trace bottles. Just what they use, baby. Vodka challenge anytime soon? No, I don't think so. Can't do it all, but there might be some people out there that want to do some vodka challenges. I know some people that do them, or I should say they're challenged by it. I was talking to somebody at work, and she said, I said, well, did you go to the Alabama LSU game? Because they had free tickets. No. I said, what do you mean, no? I said, of course, you missed a horrible game, 29-0. It was so dull. I'm sure it was exciting for Alabama fans, but she said, no, my husband kept drinking this vodka all day. And it was hot that day, you know, hot in the heat. I said, uh-oh. Yeah, and he kept, and then about an hour before the game, she said he started wobbling, and he said, oh, I ain't going to that game. She said, I don't know what happened to him. I said, well, it's pretty obvious what happened. I said, what was he drinking? She said, Tito's. Tito's. I said, oh. So I said, I hope he didn't drive back. Oh, no, I drove. The woman's telling me, I drove back. I said, no, I mean, I don't understand that. You go to a game, allegedly, you go into the game, and you're out there in the heat and you're tailgating. They call it tailgating, but you're eating all this snack food, you know, and you drink so much vodka, you're wobbling. I said, I bet he felt bad the next day. She said, oh, yeah. That's just not a lifestyle I want to get involved in. I mean, you say, yeah, but you live in Louisiana. The majority of your state is involved in that lifestyle. I know that. I just don't like it. I'm saying I don't care what they do, except when they wreck into other people in a car or truck and kill them. You know, I care about that then. Let the good times roll. I like your motto. Thank you, Marius. Okay, that's that for today. Canadian Hunter is the clear winner, I have to admit, and I never would have believed it could happen. So we keep moving from shocking development to shocking development. And I have even more shocking things coming up because Black Velvet Reserve is going to have to compete not tomorrow, what, in 3 days, I guess. Tuesday is the plan, the 13th, against Canadian, Rich and Rare. Now, I mean, come on now. Rich and Rare is $7.49 a bottle. You telling me Black Velvet's not going to beat that? I have very bad doubts about that. And then we're going up against Rich and Rare Reserve. I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to be on the 15th. That's the schedule. There's no way. Black Velvet Reserve is nice. It's a good whiskey, and I would recommend it. Okay, no problem. But there is no way it is going to beat Rich and Rare Reserve. Rich and Rare Reserve is going to destroy it. That's my prediction. It will destroy Black Velvet Reserve. Then what's up after that? Canadian Club, that'll be a draw, I do believe. Canadian Club Special Edition 12-year. Nah. I really feel sorry for Black Velvet Reserve when that happens, because the Canadian Club 12-year age will annihilate it. I bet you I'll know it on aroma only. It'll be a wipeout. It'll be a tragedy, a video production tragedy, I do believe. Then Black Velvet Reserve against Seagram's VO. It'll be close. It'll be competitive, I believe. The Black Velvet Reserve versus Canadian Seagram's VO Gold. Oh, Seagram's VO Gold will destroy it. That's 2 8-year whiskeys, but there are very few things out there that's going to compete with the VO Gold, and that's not even in production anymore. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a massacre, a video production massacre. And are there any other Canadians to come against the Black Velvet Reserve? No, I don't think so. And then I'll start over with the Rich and Rare Reserve round robin. I have to do that. Rich and Rare Reserve has to go up against everything. Well, Rich and Rare Reserve is going to kill everything pretty much. It's going to be bad. Rich and Rare Reserve is going to wipe them out. You'll see. It's going to wipe them out. Russian vodka versus Russian moonshine. Oh no. Oh, I can't go there. That would be so far above my abilities that it would be embarrassing, really. All right. Thanks for watching this video production. I got things to do. You got things to do. But stay tuned because there's more coming. More coming.